Before we start, I just ask a quick question in the audience here. How many people in this room have been through a workout with a bank before? Anybody? Oh, okay, look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. There's several here. So here's my mandate to you. Consider yourselves co-presenters today. If I say something and you have a relevant story or piece of information, or even a different perspective, say, well, gee, it didn't really quite happen that way for us, and here's what happened to us. Feel free to jump right up, stand up, and just speak your piece. And I think it'll be good to get a little bit of that information sharing. And then, so that covers people in workout. Now, do we have any bankers in the crowd? Any rat bastard son of a bitch, lousy? Oh, Rich! There you go. That's actually Rich and I spent.
Duct tape and time up now.
Yeah, exactly. We got the tar and feathers out in the parking lot. Rich and I spent a good hour and a half together in discussion about this thing, and had a great conversation. I'm delighted that he's here, because, and again, I would ask Rich, consider yourself a co-presenter, and jump up with, well, the bank's view on that would be this, or I don't quite agree with Kevin on that. I mean, the more we can get this exchange of ideas out, the better. And certainly in the Q&A part, you might have a lot of questions that is more appropriate for Rich to answer, and it's great that he's here. So let's kind of move along here. I have as my stand-in banker here, Henry Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. If any of you guys remember that Jimmy Stewart movie, he's like one of the all-time movie villains. And no offense, Rich, I think it's kind of an occupational hazard that you get, bankers get compared to Henry Potter. I mean, as a printer, I was always compared to Ben Franklin, but you have a job and I don't. So anyways, when the bank calls your loan, they do that when you're in default, quote unquote, of your loan agreement. And there's a couple of different ways that you can get in default of your agreement. You can have a missed covenant, which is typically a ratio, or you can miss a payment. Now, missing a payment is a lot more serious. I mean, if you miss a payment, and it's not for just some inconsequential reason, you're going to probably get put into workout, quote unquote, pretty fast. The ratio is a little bit different. You don't necessarily get put into workout because you missed a ratio, but that's the control mechanism that the bank has. If they don't like what's going on with your business and your ratio is out of compliance, they can then kind of step in and say, oh, wait a minute. Because your loan agreement is a contract. And you have obligations in your contract, and the bank has obligations. Your obligations is not to be in default of the agreement, to stay within covenant. And so as soon as the contract, as soon as you violate the contract, the bank has the right typically to accelerate the loan. They basically say, okay, we demand that you pay us. And that's what happened to me. I had never missed a payment to my bank, but I was in violation of my loan agreement through a missed covenant. And they say, all right, pay us the money. Now, they know you don't have the money. Well, number one, they see your financial statements anyways, but most people don't have the money, because if you had the money, you wouldn't have had to go to the bank to borrow it to begin with. And so they don't necessarily expect that you're going to pay it right off. But there's three things that can happen. The bank can return you to their good list. You can go through workout, you can kind of heal yourself, and you can get restored to a good working loan. The company can refinance elsewhere, or the bank can liquidate you, take your collateral, and pay the loan. Now, I've talked to a lot of bankers about what it's like to return to the good side. And the bank, when they put you into workout, the commercial people always say, don't worry about it, we restore people all the time, it's amazing how many people go back to the good side of our ledger. But I've interviewed a number of bankers, and they've all kind of given me, they don't really track the statistic, but they've given me sort of the top of the head, 10 to 20% return to the good. The lowest guy said 10%, the highest guy said 20, everybody else is in between. So should you happen to be in workout, you need to really work on B. You need to work on getting out of workout with your bank by trying to find financing elsewhere, just because your odds of being restored are kind of low.